Humidus podcast.
Hello and welcome, you beautiful bastards, to the Humidus podcast with me, Hammer, and of course my co-host, the Blue Beast of Konoha himself.
Steph here. And I just manifested out of the metaverse. How you doing?
I'm doing fine, thank you. I am A-okay, ready for a new podcast, you know, just sitting there with my coffee.
Yeah, me too, actually.
It's bright and early.
Oh, yes. Man. The weather is smashing these days.
It's so nice, and we had 1 month of bad weather. Like, it was just continuously raining, and really much. It was the winds were blowing all the time, and it was never a good time to go outside. But now it's like so nice, and it's Corona isolation time.
Yeah, under normal circumstances, you would pretty much live outside at this point.
Oh yeah,
but yeah, not with the Rona.
The Rona. So, man, what have you been up to lately? Doing? Heard you bought some weights.
I absolutely did, and I mean, for you listeners out there, both Hammer and me, we've had some extensive experience with working out. Usually, we tend to like to keep physically active as well, but then that's not. I'm sure a lot of you can relate to this. That's suddenly not so easy. You get a lot of energy you haven't really managed to expend, and then I decided, all right, I'm gonna jump on the bandwagon, get a home gym. I can still use it after.
Brave.
And so I did, and I expected a lot of delays. I expected the worst. I bought like a multi-function bench. Bought like dumbbells with a lot of weight sets and shit. I got everything yesterday, suddenly. Even though they said like I might even take up to 10 days before it even ships, but then it all came within 2 days. And
did you buy this from a company or was it private or?
No. I bought it from a company. I bought it from 2 different websites, like the weights and dumbbells from one site called Gorilla Sports, and I bought another one, like the bench itself, from something called like Fitness Partner or something.
Nice.
Yeah.
You would expect that in these times that the delivery time would be like insane because everybody wants to do like at home workouts and stuff.
Yeah, and so I expected the worst, really, but then it came within 2 days. And
That's really nice.
yeah, it was really nice, but it was a little bit too good to be true, and that's because the bench is hella nice. It's Abilica, and it's a relatively recognized brand and everything. But then the problem comes with the dumbbells, because I bought the cheapest plates because I wasn't gonna put like insane amounts of money in this.
No.
So I found like these were Gorilla Sports' own weight plates, and they were pretty cheap. But then the problem is, for the heavier weights, they only had 10 kg plates left in stock.
Yeah.
And I bought like 6 of those, and the dumbbell set came with 20 kg. So I figured, all right, then I should have enough to kind of make it up to, like, let's say 40 kg per each dumbbell, up to that, right? And I received it, and then it turns out I was stupid and didn't really look at the thickness, the dimensions of the plates, apart from the actual hole itself, that it would fit the dumbbell or not. And turns out the cheaper material they used to get the price as low as they did is a lot thicker, so I can only fit one 10 kg plate on each side of the dumbbell and nothing else. So yeah,
that is follow. But what kind of material is that really? Is it rubberized on the outside, or
it's kind of like, it has some kind of it kind of looks like it's like hard plastic with some kind of it has like a cap on it, so It looks like they've just filled it up with
With
something
like
inside
sand
that
or
just
something.
something. Yeah, something. Because it's not moving when you shake it. It's solid
Okay.
inside. It feels like, but then clearly it was some kind of liquid or something that they poured in it
Yeah. Okay.
to
So they needed
just
to pour it in.
yeah. And I don't mind the quality of the weights or anything. It's fully functional. It's just that it's so fucking thick that I can't fit what I needed to. And I looked at some thinner plates. Like even if I go up one grade of quality for weight plates, the price essentially doubles.
Hmm.
So I'm thinking, all right, maybe I should just buy a barbell and just work out with like, because I mean, 80 kg bench press on with a barbell is you can get more from that than fucking 22 kg bench dumbbell. I feel like,
Mm-hmm. Mm. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
yeah,
Okay, so that didn't go as expected, maybe, but
no,
still, you can do some workouts.
oh yeah,
Some, I guess it'll be a little bit easier on you since you won't go as high with the weights or as heavy. So you can do like multiple reps and be prepped for when Rona subsides eventually.
yeah, true. So it should be fine, honestly. I'll figure something
Yeah.
out. But how about you though? What have you been doing to keep
Yeah.
active?
Oh, just running, but I haven't been really good at it. I mean, I should do. I should run a lot more. So, for those of you who don't know, I work in a special segment of the health sector, which is very reduced in the like these times. So I just work like 1 day a week.
Mm,
Um, so I had a lot of free time. And it's like in Norway, we're not as densely populated as most countries. You know, Scandinavia, it's like a huge country with like 5 million people.
yeah,
So it's quite easy to kind of go for a run outside and not meet too many people,
yeah.
especially if you kind of drive a little bit outside of town.
Mm.
So you can do that, and I mean, I love to run, so I really should have been doing that a lot more, but I just haven't been doing that. I've been sitting inside for a lot of time, spending a lot of time just playing games and actually watching a lot of YouTube videos.
Yeah.
It's like too much, too much YouTube, to the point where you fall into these rabbit holes and just go deeper and deeper and deeper. And so that's what I've been doing lately, just running some and working 1 day a week, and then just watching YouTube and making good food.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, that is nice. But I mean, when is this zombie apocalypse gonna end? Oh,
Yeah. That's a really good question. Though I'm not gonna try and jinx it here, but it kind of seems like at least around here it's easing up a little bit.
oh yeah, definitely. It's easing up a lot. I mean, the signs have been in Norway. The signs have been really good for quite some time.
Yeah.
The curve, the exponential growth ended like almost 2 weeks ago
Yeah.
and flattened out, and it has been dropping the last week, like steadily dropping all the admissions to the intensive care segments of the hospitals, and the people with on respirators are
Hmm.
steadily decreasing. So the question now is, uh, how and when are we going to open up the segments of society to best control and mitigate, not the spread, but then the most important thing is like to mitigate the stress on the healthcare system,
Yeah.
so it doesn't overload at any point of kind of the spread throughout society. So I guess
Hmm.
that's like the next question to answer. How are we going to manage that? But I feel that if it's anywhere you're going to do that in an appropriate manner, it's Norway. I mean, we have like the best kind of prerequisite to do it to a very satisfactory extent. Like I said, small population, huge land area,
Yeah.
very, very like geographically isolated. Not too much traffic between places right now, so really easy to kind of close the society down in segments and open them up like gradually.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we'll just see.
Yeah, I mean, let's hope for the best.
I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we can cure the cabin fever as well.
Oh yeah, that fucking cabin.
But anyway, this is a nice segue into another sort of pandemic.
Yeah.
Because today's first topic is actually Resident Evil and the remakes and all that shit. So,
Mm.
what's your experience with this? You want to start off with that?
Yeah, sure. So I have a little bit of limited experience with Resident Evil. I played them as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
1 and 2. Didn't play 3 much. I loved what I played back then, but I didn't have like a PS1, so it was like playing at my friend's house. And I absolutely loved like the vibe and the atmosphere of the game.
Yeah.
But it was I didn't play like religiously because I never owned it, and then I just didn't develop such a romantic like relationship with it since I'd never played it myself. But I always like respected it as a really good game, and the feeling you got was really unique.
Yeah.
What about you?
Well, my earliest experience. What was the earliest experience with it? I think I barely remember those like really fucking dank TV commercials for it when I was really
Mhm.
small.
Mhm.
Maybe
Yeah.
like 6 years old or something, and I remember I was at a friend's place and the commercial came on, and I was like, "Oh, look at that game! It's like President Evil." And he's like, "No, no, no! It's Resident Evil." I'm like, "Oh, I don't know what that means, but that sounds cool." And but I think the first time I played a Resident Evil game proper was the first remake on GameCube, actually, Resident Evil 1.
Yeah.
And that game, even today, I feel like it has pretty good graphics, especially on the
Mm.
GameCube. They're doing some really sick black voodoo magic in there to make it look
Hmm.
absolutely stellar. And yeah, but other than that, for that kind of game, Dino Crisis was more my thing. I actually got a hold
Mm.
of that quite early on, and it scared the fuck out of me because dinosaurs being trapped in a place with raptors and
Oh
a
yeah.
T-Rex and shit, that scared me even more.
Uh,
Um,
The Japanese did those games so well.
yeah.
The Dino Crisis series. I also loved. I actually have a little bit more experience with the Dino Crisis series.
Yeah.
But also, I don't know if you play this, but Clock Tower. Did
Oh
you ever
yeah.
play that? Oh my
Oh,
god, that game.
we
That
can
is so
do
dang.
yeah, we can do a whole episode on Clock Tower. I feel like because I actually have no, but before this whole isolation and social distancing started,
Mhm.
Dank N suggested
Mm.
that we had what do you call it, like a long session together where we actually completed Clock Tower 1 through 3.
Oh yeah, marathon on Clock Tower.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
that's uh,
So
dank and
yeah, yeah. So Dank
he's
N
such a
yeah, we have a rain check on that one. So
yeah.
definitely something we
May-
can bring up later.
Maybe we should do like a stream with that.
A stream of Clock Tower.
Yeah, like and Dankan playing it, we can like do the comments because
Yeah, sure.
Dankan can like play in his sleep. He can play games in his sleep. He
Yeah,
can.
yeah.
He's on autopilot and just yeah.
I mean, he can literally tie his hands up behind his back and then turn his back to it and just use his like severely handicapped fingers to play it. You
I
know?
mean, yeah, sure, for sure. He's ungodly. So yeah, we can do that. But regarding like all these, there's been like some debacle over a recent announcement, the Resident Evil 4
Mm-hmm.
HD remake. or remake or whatever.
Yeah, it's rumored to be the next one coming.
Yeah, already, and like everybody felt that RE3 was a little bit early, or it was like almost rushed out,
Yeah.
and people were like, "Oh, okay, this is," they're like, "This is good." The avid fans are like, "It's so good," but it's like a lot of people didn't think it was so good, the RE3 remake. But do
Yeah.
you think that that is due to the fact that the original Resident Evil 3 was like a very, very, uh, I guess, fast release after 2,
I mean,
with
yeah.
like a lot of, yeah.
I mean, I heard it was Resident Evil 3 was originally supposed to be kind of like a side story or expansion to 2. I read,
Hmm.
and but then eventually they turned it into its own game.
Yeah.
So for that game, I mean, from what I've seen, I haven't played Resident Evil 3 remake myself, but I have a friend who bought it day one. He's a pretty avid fan of Resident Evil,
Hmm.
and he said he just sent me a screenshot of the starting screen, the title screen, saying like, "Oh, here we go," And then 4 hours
Yeah.
later, he's like, "Oh, I'm seeing the
We're
end
done.
credits already." Yeah,
Yeah.
and and apparently he took his time too
Mm,
to
okay.
explore and
So,
shit, and then
yeah.
he said, and he shared kind of the same sentiment as the rest of the most of the reviews and stuff, that what you get, the experience itself is solid, but it's fucking short. And
Mm,
not
mm,
only that, but they've skipped a lot of puzzles and
mm,
some of the slower, more mood
mhm.
building parts of the original 3. So, and it now you know, you have the dodge ability, and you have
Mm.
the persistent knife that doesn't break in these things. So
Yeah.
they
It's
changed
just,
it to a point, and apparently
yeah, it's just a little,
Nemesis,
yeah.
yeah, not just
He's not as scary,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know. But that the thing is, I mean, would he ever with his fucking bazooka? I mean, when you look back to like 10-year-old you playing this game,
yeah,
I mean, of course you think it's kind of scary because you're 10 years old, and I feel that some people are like they're just living back in that nostalgia part of their brain. They just feel that, oh, it was so scary back then, but it was like this really polygonated bazooka guy just
yeah,
appearing. It's not that scary if you just think about it. It's not that,
yeah.
I the Mr. X kind of bioweapon. He was more like, to my taste, I guess.
Yeah,
To
he was definitely more menacing in a way because but Nemesis, I, what was scary about him was that he was just so relentless
Mhm.
and, or not scary, but stressing, I guess.
Yeah. I get what you're saying. He's like on you all the time. You don't get a break.
Yeah, but,
You just feel his.
and then what they kind of tried to market to a certain extent with the 3 remake is that, yeah, Nemesis can like show up wherever, whenever.
Mm,
It's like randomized encounters and stuff, but apparently that's
yeah.
only in a small section of the game that he can be randomized, and most of the rest is actually scripted sequences and very predictable. So
Yeah.
that kind of takes away some of the the randomization was some of the things that made Mr. X scary, and
Mm,
you kind of heard his footsteps. Resident Evil 2 remake did this really well because
mm,
as soon as you meet him, he's constantly patrolling the police station that you're in, and you can hear his footsteps almost constantly, unless he's on the other side of the map. And if he's not, then you can hear the footsteps to some degree all the time.
yeah. That's
So
unnerving.
yeah, and I didn't no, I did a playthrough with my another of my friends, and he is really prone to getting stressed, especially when he's chased.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I had him play it just to watch his reaction, kind of. And
Hmm.
dude, he was so fucking stressed by Mr. X. So, and I was laughing my ass off. It was hella entertaining. But I don't think Resident Evil 3 is going to kind of do the same, and especially not as a. It's not very tempting as a $60 game.
No, that's also part of the equation, right? It's like a full priced game, and you kind of expect maybe that they, even for like RE3, it was such a short experience to begin with.
Yeah.
It's like a corridor. It's like from A to B. It's not much of that backtracking experience like 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like this game you need to flesh it a little bit out if you're going to remake it, for the modern audience. And they really didn't do that. It was like, yeah, we're just pushing it out. Like 1 year later, here's the game.
Yeah.
Literally just 3 months after announcement, like, boop, here it is. And $60, let's go. And,
Yeah.
and they just know that people will buy this because like 1 and 2 was really good successes, and yeah, people feel that it's like a little bit of a cash grab.
And it probably is as
Yeah,
well. But
I mean,
to be fair to the game, I think it's it looks solid. What you get while it lasts is solid. It's just
yeah,
it's a hella
yeah,
short. And
yeah, and that's kind of like the thing. People, I mean, can you really expect a different? I mean, it's a fucking remake,
yeah.
What do you what is the expectations for that? You don't need to buy it. It's like you can buy it if you really really like the series and you're an avid fan and you want like a new
Um.
refreshed version of it.
Yeah. I agree to that to some extent, but Resident Evil
Yeah,
2 found a lot of mainstream success as well.
yeah,
But then 3,
yeah, but
if it wasn't as rushed, if they kept in some of the slower parts as well and made it more, made Nemesis more randomized, all these, these things,
mhm.
then, and let's say if it was an 6 or 7 hours a game at least,
Mm,
I think it would have justified the price more.
yeah. It's just that it's a little bit too short, a little bit too fast.
Yeah, so now it becomes
That's
more for the avid fans, I feel like.
hmm Yeah, but it's like I mean, your point is really good. The thing is that the developer is kind of the ones who have got to put like their vision for the remake. Like FF7 remake, the vision is like out of the fucking roof. They want to flesh out the story, and it's
Yeah.
not even a remake. It's like a reinterpretation of the whole thing.
Yeah.
So and that's that creates opportunity for mainstream audiences or new audiences to enjoy the game uh in like a new or a more, I guess, profitable. That's more profitable, but it's also to take a more chance. With the game, you need to have a larger budget of development, and it takes a longer time, and you risk people kind of hating the product.
Yeah.
So when you just kind of rehash, just use all the same engine, just use all of like these are the assets that we can port over, and just make like just put the bazooka bazooka on Nemesis, like
Yeah.
fucking bazooka, put it on him.
I even heard that a lot of the zombie models are the same from 2.
Yeah, and that's my point. It's like you just do it really fast. I mean,
Yeah.
and that's a strategy for making money as well. You can like, okay, that's low risk. A lot of people would buy it. You get some blowback because people recognize that this is lazy,
Mm-hmm.
but still, like you said, it's a good experience for the short amount of time that you play the game, and so you kind of land in between, and you can't kind of fault the developer for choosing that really like easy way out, because like it's kind of a different philosophy. Sometimes you go for that really really expansive rehash with a lot of risk and a lot of reward for that,
Yeah.
and then you go for the easy one sometimes with where you can just grab the cash.
Yeah,
I
and
guess.
I mean, the For the future of the series, though, like where the next part of this debacle started was when they planned for it leaked that the next remake might potentially be 4.
Yeah.
And I mean, some fans were calling for some of the side games, like Code Veronica or Zero or these kind of games.
Mm. Mm. Yeah.
Some because these are also still part of the older, sort of like more, the old school Resident Evil games. But four was already kind of like a huge change, and it was highly influential, for the future of the series and for a lot of third person games in general, actually. And
Mm.
it's not even that old. So
No.
it's
Yeah.
yeah. If you buy the HD remaster of that game, it still looks pretty decent today. So it's like,
Hmm.
when you could potentially do other things instead. Like, one
Yeah.
of the other Resident Evil games is one thing, but what about Dino Crisis?
Right. Right. I can agree more. It's been like it's almost like a plague these days that the kind of first huge gamer generation is coming of age. Like I consider myself one of them.
Yeah.
Like we're like late 20s, early 30s, and we've been playing like games for all of our lives.
Yeah.
And we look back through like rose tinted glasses and like we love the like kind of childhood diamonds, that we always played.
Yeah.
And we want remakes, or it's not that we like kind of want remakes, but it sells, like hotcake.
It
If you
absolutely
make
does.
a remake of an old classic, it's gonna sell.
Yeah, and I mean, dude, if they make a remake of Dino Crisis 1,
Yeah,
and they make
yeah.
it in that engine, and they actually spend some time in it, it's not a cash grab, but like, let's say they put the same amount of effort as Resident Evil 2 remake, dude,
Hmm.
I'm buying that day one. Easy
Of
peasy.
course,
It's
but
just
that's the
it's a
thing.
no-brainer.
That Yeah, that's the thing. Because they've already sold you on the game,
Yeah.
right? You
Yeah.
already love the game. They just say that, okay, we're gonna just make it better. We're just gonna make it modern,
Yeah. And I'm all
the
for that.
thing that you already love. Yeah. And then you're like, okay, I'm gonna have like a kind of relive my childhood memories. And of course it's not gonna be like that time. It's not gonna be as epic as the first time, but still it's gonna be okay.
It's gonna be good.
And it's so much easier to kind of remake a game than make a new game from
Yeah.
scratch.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I
that's why you see the trend of so many remakes and HD remasters, and
which, yeah, and if done well, I don't mind it at all. But the other thing is,
no, I
like,
don't. Yeah.
imagine if they, whether they make a Dino Crisis 1 remake, or if they make like a reboot or like a new installment to the series, I'm fine with that too. Either
Yeah.
one, just make more Dino Crisis. Give me more scary dinosaur games that are intense, because that's a market that's fucking sorely underutilized.
Hmm. And it's such a good like format also, even though it's kind of like crazy. It was so, I don't know, 90s with the dinosaurs and
Yeah,
like Jurassic Park, and it was so I don't know what it is with like scary dinosaur media, but
but
it was like a period with that.
yeah, but for me, I am a huge fan of fucking Jurassic Park 1. Um,
Mm.
and that was a huge part of my childhood, very influential. And, you know, there was something just like primal scary about that,
Hmm. Hmm.
being chased by a fucking tyrannosaur or a raptor or something. It's just like,
Yeah.
it was haunting, it was scary in a different way. And the Dino Crisis 1 kind of remade that feeling for me. I got to
Yeah.
play a game that plays on that kind of, that same fear that I got from Jurassic Park 1 as a kid.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So, and I don't think a lot of there's very few games that are like that kind of gritty, realistically scary, with dinosaurs. It's more like action games like Turok, or
Mm.
they have
Yeah. I was
some,
about to mention that.
yeah, and they have some seamless, seamless kind of multiplayer games where like what's that called, Primal Carnage or something.
Yeah.
And
Comic-Con.
I mean, yeah, it's fine, it's decent, but it's not the same. It's they're not scary. They're just it's more actiony.
Yeah, Primal
So
Carnage, it's like monsters, I guess. Like dinosaurs and like King Kong and stuff like that, or giant kind of monsters.
yeah, but it's yeah, still. So it's an underutilized market, and so you know, bottom line, feel like they have more potential, better candidates for remakes or reboots rather than Resident Evil 4.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, so we'll just have to see if they're gonna be a little bit more creative. But speaking of creative, like I saw this the new talk about GTA 6.
Yeah,
It was like a leak about them making it like more a gradual release, not like a AAA full game release, but they're gonna kind of do it like in segments, kind of almost like patches or you know like an online module.
yeah, yeah.
What do you think about that?
I am worried, um, because I absolutely love the story modes of GTA.
Hmm.
You know, ever since I was old enough to understand what was going on and understand the references and
Yeah.
the satire in it and stuff, I've been loving that. And
Yeah, me too.
GTA 4 story mode was fucking epic. Same with GTA 5
Yeah,
was even
yeah,
more epic. And it's just like there's so much funny and crazy shit that goes on in those games. And then
yeah.
yeah, so I'm worried that they're gonna focus more on online, which I mean, online is fun if you play with some friends, you do the heists, these kind of thing, you fuck around a bit. It's fine. It's
Mm,
fun, but it's not like something I would come back to and play all the time. And I would,
no,
yeah, I don't want it to be at the expense of the story mode.
no, that's my exact like sentiment with this. I feel that or I'm afraid that GTA 5 was like the last great, the like final iteration of the single player GTA. And
Yeah,
since GTA Online was it's still to this day such a huge success, financially for Rockstar, it's like are they really gonna do justice to a single player experience on GTA 6? I don't know. It's like, and they come with this kind of episodic thing. It might be like a hybridization of an online game. It might be not a standalone single player experience.
yeah, um, yeah, and then I saw another part of the story here, and apparently, because when they made Red Dead Redemption 2,
Mm,
there was insane developer crunch, like extreme
mm.
overtime. There was rumors about like developers having to work 100-hour work weeks just to get this shit done. And
Yeah.
the like, I think it was Danhauser, was it? One of the leads of Rockstar just kind of bragged about this. He was bragging about having the developers do the crunch and do that, like, yeah, we're pulling like 100-hour work weeks to get this shit done, to make sure you get the best game possible, blah blah blah. But then what that actually led to was investigations in the working conditions, and suddenly
Mm.
that unveiled a whole lot of really fucking toxic, shitty work culture where some of the the superiors would fart in other developers' faces, and just like this kind of like,
What?
yeah, this is like a huge like frat house kind of like that
Oh
kind of
my god. Yeah. You can't
so
imagine though
yeah,
that it would be like that. I mean, what 100-hour work weeks? That is insane. You
yeah,
shouldn't be sitting still at a computer for 100 hours.
no,
What? Are
yeah,
you fucking kidding me?
for one,
That's
yeah,
so unhealthy.
yep. And like, couple that with the really unhealthy working culture, apart from the overtime, like the frat
Yeah.
boy thing, because definitely a lot of people were not comfortable with that. and
No,
it
no.
was kind of like the power abuse thing, and there was some sexual harassment kind of thing. There was a lot of toxic shit going on there.
I can imagine.
Yeah. So part of the reason why they were gonna make it in installments is reportedly to ease off that crunch.
Mm. But
Um,
I can that I can totally understand.
yeah.
But we'll have to see if that is, because the thing with the series is like the games are so expansive, like
Yeah.
Red Dead and GTA, that if you're going to do it through a normal development cycle, either you need to have like an insanely large, well coordinated team,
Hmm.
or you have to like work for years and years and years. And then it's always like this with games. You can't develop them for too long because it just doesn't keep up with technology and trends and game design philosophies, and all of this. When you start out, the things that you start out with are outdated after kind of 5 years.
Yeah.
So you need to like then go back and redevelop concepts and maybe structures in the game, and then maybe that doesn't fit too well with the latest developments that you did like 1 year ago.
Oh yeah.
And it's like a very, very complex thing. So I can understand the kind of efficiency way of looking at it to release it like in segments like that.
Yeah, definitely. But the question then becomes, what's that gonna mean for the actual GTA game? Because I I don't know. I feel like episodic content for story, I'm not too fond of that. That usually means that I'm gonna end up waiting until the whole collection is out and then just buying the collection, instead.
Mm, yeah, I know what you mean.
Because I mean, I guess one of the exceptions for that is Final Fantasy VII Remake, which it was a 30-hour game by itself. So
Mm,
I feel like that was justified. But GTA 6, if it's GTA 6, it might not be a numbered title as well.
no.
So it's probably going to be the same thing, because if Rockstar says that it's going to be a moderately sized game, for their standards, that's still a pretty large game.
Yeah.
So I mean, as long as its story is solid and good, and it has a lot of content there from the start, like it can actually keep you occupied with things to do for a while.
Yeah. Yeah. That's my
I'm
take
fine.
on it too.
Yeah,
As long as you get that kind of that single player immersion experience, you feel that all the AI and the world around you is really well optimized. It feels
mm,
dynamic. It feels like a real world which you can kind of play
yeah,
God in a sense, or
yeah,
you can play, you not necessarily God, but you can play a human being thinking he's God,
yeah.
in a way.
Exactly. You just like,
And that's kind of the unique feeling that GTA has always provided.
hmm,
And I think that even like from GTA 2 on PC, or like the first games, you always felt like the kind of potential that we're seeing realized now,
yeah,
with like really advanced 3D graphics and simulated environments that feel almost like lifelike.
yeah,
And I think that video games are essentially that. It's you living out a fantasy in like a setting. And
yeah,
GTA has a really, really appealing setting to almost every, human being on the planet,
yeah.
to
Exactly.
kind of just live the life you want to live. And, you can like be a crime boss. You can make a lot of money. You can like do
Yeah, because
crazy shit.
I just remember how a good example of that, of the crazy shit you can do, is just like, all right, in GTA 5 you can invest in stocks, okay, but then you can also directly influence the stocks by, let's say, you invest in one company and then you just destroy the competitor of that company so their stocks go up, and then you cash out.
Mhm. Yeah.
That kind of shit.
Yeah, I
You
know.
blow it up with a
That's so,
bazooka.
yeah, genius way to kind of make the world feel more dynamic and feel more integrated. And oh, it's so many aspects of GTA 5 where you're like, you feel the world around you, and that's what I hope for GTA 6.
Yeah.
And, I mean, and to a certain extent, the kind of scope of the world is affecting that, because the larger the world is, the more like you feel this is a real place.
Oh yeah, and
Um,
it's so varied too
yeah,
in geography, like
yeah, and like that
GTA
also.
5.
Like, yeah, right. So like it's varied in geography, and you feel that it's a real kind of environment. It
Yeah,
changes, as you travel through it. So with a small scope, you kind of lose a little bit of that. But if it's kind of okay, so you start in this section, and then you get the new kind of chapter update,
yeah,
and it expands that, and it still has like the old section,
yeah,
then it's like no problem, but
yeah.
I guess
Because they
we'll just
used to
have to
do
see.
that even in GTA 4. They did that, like when you were in Liberty City, and then at the beginning part of the game, you only had like one of the islands or like one of the segments available to you,
Yeah,
and the other was blocked by roadblocks and shit. And
yeah, I remember.
yeah, and as the story kind of progressed, you unlock more of the map, and then you can start free roaming for real. And I mean,
Mm,
if done properly, I don't mind it.
no, but it's gonna be, an exciting game when it comes out. I'm looking forward to that,
I mean, too, for sure.
for sure, for sure. All right, so are we gonna wrap this up
Sure.
right now? I think.
We've covered a large chunk of dankness today.
Yes, yes, it has been humid.
Quite
Uh,
fucking humid.
but yeah, we're gonna need to put Dank N on one of these days
Oh yeah. Make sure he doesn't rot away in
in his
his man
cave.
cave. Yeah.
Uh, oh yeah. Well, maybe we should like discuss doing like a stream or something with him
That would be fun to do.
if we could. Yeah, it would be really fun. But I guess that has been it. And to all of you 1.5 listeners out there, thank you for listening to the Humidus podcast.
Stay humid.
Stay dank.